Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast, Field Goals and Forecast, presented by Afterthought Sports, now on WSPU 88.3 FM. The Buzz. I'm Ryan Addio. Alongside me on Zoom is my great co-host, James Derrick. The wild card round of the NFL playoffs is now over. We've got some good winners coming through. I don't know. What are your initial reactions to this wild card round, James? Any surprises, I guess?
Um, no real surprises, but I think everyone would agree as a fan, it was a great wild card weekend, and a lot of really close games. I think pretty much every NFL fan was satisfied with what happened.
Yeah, pretty much up until Sunday night when we had to watch the Chargers Patriots and then the Steelers Texans. Other than that, great games. Even Rams Panthers was a good one. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it was a really close one.
Yeah.
Obviously, talking about maybe the biggest game, Bills Jags, another close one, obviously, but the Bills walk out of it victorious. They walk out of Jacksonville with a win on the road. Their last road win, of course, the 1992 AFC Championship. So they haven't won in a road playoff game since 1992, but they win this one 27-24. Is there anything that pops into your head when I say Bills win? Any thoughts why?
Um, well, I it can't go understated that I'm shocked we got to 27 points in that matchup.
Yeah.
The Jags defense really was swarming, and they talked about it a lot during the game. No run after catch. There was so many plays where, it just took a great Josh Allen throw and a great catch from a receiver to even get 6 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that game, it felt like the Jaguars were really putting the Bills in a chokehold for a lot of that game. Those screen passes weren't working so well. A lot of 0 yard catches.
Yeah.
Um, but even without James Cook getting going, the Bills somehow find a way to win that game. It gives me a lot of confidence in the fact that we could work around a great defensive unit like Jacksonville.
Yeah, and going to have to play a great defensive unit next week and maybe the week after that, considering the Texans are still in the playoffs. But it can't be understated that Josh Allen, man, we talked about it before the game. We said Josh Allen is going to have to play superhero ball. James Cook is going to be limited, and he was. He had under 50 yards on 15 carries. There was a point in the game where they would run with James Cook on every first down. They'd get a first down, run with James Cook, and it was like 4 yards, 3 yards.
If that, if
Yeah,
that.
like very limited. But Josh Allen having to step up, and maybe he stepped up too much. Maybe they relied on him too much. But obviously, 28 of 35, 273 yards, a touchdown, 11 carries for 33 yards and two touchdowns. The tush push worked.
Yeah.
Granted, you don't really want to see the tush push all the time, but if it works, you stick with it. What are you going to say? But he paid the price. Two injuries, his
Yeah.
hand, his head. He was in the medical tent like 3 times, I think. Do you think that plays a bigger factor next week, or you think he's just a soldier? He's just gonna battle through it, you know?
I was really concerned after the first touchdown where he got in, running the ball, that hyperextension of his knee a little bit. He I do have that vision of, oh, he's a sturdy guy. He doesn't usually get hurt, knock on wood. I even,
Yeah,
knock on wood right now. But you don't mess around with knee injuries. You see him grabbing for his knee, you're like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
please, 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 please. Of course, he's okay and goes out and, runs the ball a couple more times even throughout that game, but, um, I think that just has to be the way we get it done. If the Bills can't go through Josh Allen, it's gonna be a long game for them
yeah. And
regardless for their.
you saw the frustration. When
Mhm.
guys get hurt, they're usually on the ground. They're like, "Oh man, like gonna be out a couple of weeks." He gets hurt. He's slamming his helmet. He's screaming. He's mad. He's like, "I want this to be, you know, I want to be the reason we win this game. I want to have the team on my back."
Yeah.
But when he gets hurt, he's like, man, I can't do that anymore. Like he genuinely was so frustrated getting up. But I'm glad to see he's okay. Let's hope that those injuries don't persist. But you're right. Knee injuries are always scary. And head injuries as well. When he got,
Yeah.
I think he just, hit his head or something, or someone sat on his head or
Yeah, he got
some,
sat on, dude, he
yeah,
got
like
sat on.
that always is going to scare you. And if we didn't have him in that game, we wouldn't have lost. We would have lost. 100% the Bills would have lost. I don't see it going any other way. But another player, honestly, I don't think the Bills win the game with is Khalil Shakir. 12 receptions. They threw to him like every down. 12
Yeah,
receptions, 80
yeah, and
yards.
he made a lot of impressive catches where he was immediately met by a defender,
Mm-hmm.
getting hit, um, and he had a huge play on like 3rd and 6 or third and 8, something like that. Where, he catches a pass out wide, and that
Yeah.
spin move puts his defender on skates. That was a huge play to extend a drive where it was kind of looking like we were heading towards a punt, in our own territory, but that kept the drive alive and ended up, becoming a touchdown. So he made some huge plays, um, and some really impressive catches considering he didn't have a lot of run after the catch.
Yeah. And speaking of kind of like that wide receiver room, obviously Shakir stepped up. Brandon Cooks as well stepped up. 3 receptions, 58 yards. Who would have thought? Unk still got it. But uh,
Man,
we are, I mean, and I say we, and I mean the Bills, they are getting thin at that wide receiver position. Gabe Davis re aggravating that same knee. He tears his ACL again. That's always going to hurt. Curtis Samuel is practicing, but Josh
okay.
Palmer's out. You're getting kind of thin. Shavers went out for a little bit. I don't know if he's still out or not. I haven't heard anything about him, but you kind of gotta have these guys step up. And I mean, if it's Brandon Cooks, it's Brandon Cooks. At the end of the day, I'll take it. But just a bit random, honestly. I'm happy for him though.
No, he's proved to be reliable. A veteran guy that can be reliable and make some big plays, and I'm happy with that. And even Keon Coleman, I mean, kind of just a little spot in a zone where he got a
Yeah,
little lucky and got wide open, but still at least he caught the ball, right?
it was well
So
schemed up for him. Let me just say that. Yeah,
yeah. So as long as we can continue to get some plays and Khalil Shakir can continue to be the main guy that runs those intermediate routes, there's no telling where the Bills can go at this
yeah.
point.
And do you think these injuries? I mean, Max Hairston, Terrell Bernard. Do you think they start piling up and it becomes a bigger thing down the line, or you think it just next man up will fill in the spot? I mean, we saw Trey White step up. We saw Shaq Thompson step up.
Yeah.
I mean, is that going to be something that they just have to keep doing?
I mean, it's gonna have to be something they keep doing because they're even talking about possibly Terrell Bernard coming back for this
Mhm.
next week, but that's a guy who's been sidelined for a while now. And as good as he is, how comfortable are you with him playing multiple snaps against, I
Yeah,
guess I'm not particularly, afraid of the Broncos offense. However, they won 14 games this season. So,
yeah,
I'm not even sure how comfortable I am with him. Shaq Thompson did a hell of a job out there. So I'm more comfortable with him at this
right.
point, a guy coming back from injury. So it's going to have to continue to be next man up. So happy that Trey White got to end the game there,
Yeah,
with that tip drill interception to Cole Bishop, and I'm glad the defense continued to make plays.
yeah. Again, Trey White, Shaq Thompson stepped up. They were unreal in this game. Honestly, I don't know if I've seen Trey play this good since like I don't know 2020, maybe. Like that was the last time that I saw him play this well. And I mean Shaq Thompson as well. He's been a long time Carolina Panther. Um, Surprised to see him move into this role and be so good, especially in the passing game. I mean, I knew he was good in the run game, but passing game was where he kind of struggled a bit, and he definitely filled the role of Terrell Bernard. But speaking of that running game, Bills still could not stop the run. I mean, if the Jags could, they would have ran it on every single down, and they probably
Yeah,
would have won the game. But they kind of went away from that. They relied on Trevor Lawrence. Didn't he couldn't do it. I mean, I'm sorry to say, he really just couldn't do it. He did not step up when it mattered. I mean, he threw an interception on the final play of the game. He had a minute to score, and that's where it's made. That's where these, you know, that's when you step up and you become a big dog. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
metaphorically, if Trevor Lawrence would have went down the field and scored in 1 minute, you'd have been like, yeah, that's a that's an elite quarterback. But I don't think he is.
Yeah, the scene was set for him, and it just didn't happen. I was really concerned that he had found a rhythm with
Yeah,
Parker Washington at the end of that game. I mean, he was
seriously.
open. every time. And I mean, you watch him run these routes. I mean, whether it's zone or man, he is a phenomenal young receiver, someone that totally took the league by
Yeah.
storm towards the end of the season. He's got a bright future ahead of him. Even still with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, I think they've got a good rapport at this point. But I was expecting to see him every play of that final drive, and well, as we know, he gets picked off at the end there, not with the big dogs.
Yeah, he's just not up there with the big dogs yet. I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks you could say that about right now, but I guess where does Trevor Lawrence stand for you? Would you take him over, I don't know, let's say Jordan Love right now?
Oh man, that's tough. I think I would take him over Jordan Love, but it's also kind of a scenario where it's like, you give Jordan Love the receiver core that Trevor Lawrence has, and maybe you say something different.
Yeah, all right. Fair
There's
enough.
pros and cons for the both of them. Um, it's tough to say right now because besides the two picks, Trevor Lawrence had a great season.
Yeah.
It sucks that it ended that way against Buffalo,
I mean, if
right?
we're talking big dogs, right? Like you're not taking him over Burrow, you're not taking him over Allen, you're not taking him over Lamar, Patrick Mahomes. It's kind of that weird fifth. You're not taking him over like Drake May. I wouldn't take him over Drake May.
No, not at this point. No,
Yeah, I that's kind of where I'm saying, and I don't think Drake May is a big dog yet, but I'm just
no,
saying in terms of you need a game winning drive with a minute to go. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is your guy. But the final thing I want to say there is Cam Little, the ball does not lie. Of course, I don't think they should have got that field goal attempt at the end of the half. But what are you going to do? If he would have got them in a field goal range, I'm sure he would have made the kick. But still young. All of them are still young. Jaguars are a very, very young team. They've got some time to develop. The pressure was on them against a really experienced Buffalo team. So I nothing you can really say. They played a great game. I'm sure they would have loved to go far further, but it's just how it comes down. And then, of course, another really, really young team next week against the Broncos on Saturday. So somewhat of a short week, I guess, but every team's got a short week except for the one seeds. What do you kind of expect out of that game? Similar, almost, or is this a hey, Josh Allen steps up, the Broncos defense can't stop him, we just crush him?
well, I mean, considering I always say Buffalo gets past the number one rush defense in the NFL. I imagine Buffalo is going to be able to run the ball at least a little bit better than they were against Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Um, and that will only improve the entirety of the offense. So I imagine Buffalo still will be able to score the ball. I think it's going to be way more important for the Broncos offense, see how they're clicking.
yeah.
See if they can make some big plays against a Buffalo defense that still can't defend the run. So that's going to be a big part of the game as well.
Can't defend the run, but are you really that scared of RJ Harvey? I mean, considering
Can
everyone
make some
else,
plays.
all right, he's great. He's great in the passing game, but considering everything else, we just played the Buffalo Bills just played Travis Etienne, who is
Yeah,
definitely a better running back, was able to kind of stop him, not really, but I'm not as scared of RJ Harvey and Bo Nix as I am Travis Etienne and Trevor Lawrence.
no, I agree. I think it somehow, some way, this could end up being an easier matchup for Buffalo. However, I mean, Denver has played close games all season. They've become experienced in
Yeah.
winning close matchups and finding a way to win. And usually it's on the defensive side of the ball. So as long as Buffalo stays mistake free, um, we can't have the special teams errors, stuff like that. Can't have any drop punts, no fumbles. Um, I think as long as they can play some clean football, I imagine Buffalo could pull that one out against the one seed Broncos.
Yeah, we'll see next week. Obviously, first game of the divisional round, 4 p.m. on Saturday. It's brutal. But what are you going to do? They have to travel from Jacksonville up to Buffalo, back to Denver in 6 days, but it'll be all right. It'll be all right. That's what I keep telling myself. But let's move into our field goals of the week. And no, we're not talking about kicks. We're talking about the good, the no good, and the not even close. In other words, what went well this week, what just didn't, and what was good. And I say good in a kind of layman's terms. No team wants to lose, but if you're the Carolina Panthers, you're feeling pretty good. At the end of the day, you're feeling pretty good. You lost the game, but you kept it really close with the
Hmm.
LA Rams, who are favorited by majority of people next to the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl, right? So you got to feel kind of good about the loss. I mean,
Yeah, and 10.5 point dogs at home. I think they felt disrespected by that going
yeah,
into that game, and it was obvious that the Carolina Panthers were not there to play around. They didn't punch first, but they punched back, and that was something that I think a lot of Panthers fans should be satisfied with. I think you can leave that game thinking, and yeah, they got some support from special teams, and their defense made some big plays, but I think you can leave that game and say, I'm I'm comfortable with Bryce Young being our quarterback for the next couple of years. I like our coaching staff. I think overall that's a team that has a bright future. Considering, maybe they figured some things out. They're able to compete with some really good teams.
yeah. And for the Rams, I guess it's hard to say because you don't know how good the Panthers really are, right? But are the
Mm.
Rams worse than people initially thought? Is this just a tough matchup for them? I mean, they lost earlier in the season. Are the Panthers genuinely very good? Is Bryce Young Josh Allen or Josh Rosen? I mean, I've seen both sides from him,
Yeah.
but for the Rams, like, can you really have a ton of faith in them next week against the Bears when, you know, Stafford's a bit hurt? You almost lost to the Carolina Panthers. You're playing on the road again. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, especially, I mean, what I saw from Caleb Williams in that game against the Packers
Mhm.
was genuinely one of the greatest comeback performances, some of the best throws I've ever seen.
I was just
When you
going to
need
say,
it
yeah.
on like a 4th and 8, he had it way down the field. So um, it's going to be, if the Rams defense can keep up, and well, they couldn't do it against the Panthers. And I think Caleb Williams in that rushing attack is going to be able to attack the Rams a lot better than most people anticipated. The Bears, I think, have a better chance in this game than I thought originally, and that a lot of
Mhm.
people thought coming into this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, and we can talk about that. Like, are the Bears really legit? I mean, I know they just beat the Packers. I mean, they pretty much I wrote they outlasted the Packers pretty much. They scored 28 points in the second half, 25 points in the fourth quarter, but they only allowed 6 in the second half in just the fourth quarter. Caleb Williams was 24 of 48. I mean, that's 50%, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions as well.
Mhm.
Honestly, Jordan Love was the better quarterback. 4 touchdowns, 300 yards, 24 of 46. I mean, DeAndre Swift is pretty limited on the ground. I mean, the Packers have a good rush defense. Is this a legit team, or are they kind of just getting lucky in the fourth quarter? I mean,
Well, it wasn't just the fourth quarter necessarily, but I mean, I have Al Michaels even said it during the game. He's never seen a flip like this at the line of scrimmage
yeah,
in a playoff game. I mean, the Bears' defense was absolutely locked down for
yeah,
that entire second half. Josh Jacobs, I'm not sure if I watched him run for over 3 yards, on a single carry in the second half.
yeah,
Um, I mean, there's some phenomenal plays by Jalen Johnson, among others, in that secondary where you needed to play good man coverage on a third down, and they just did.
yeah,
I think it's a team that, I mean, hey, led by Ben Johnson, they get gritty and they figure out how to win games. I think that's something that, as a fan, you notice and you feel good about, where no
yeah,
matter where you are in a game, the defense can kind of flip a switch and just you know dig in the trenches and figure out a way to get your team back in it.
yeah. I mean, that no matter what, you're still in the game. I mean,
Yeah.
Ben Johnson, great coach. Just that team never gave up. I think honestly, on the other side, the Packers might have said, "Hey, let's just keep playing us. We'll lay off the gas a bit, play a little conservative." And honestly, is LaFleur the problem for Green Bay? I mean, they've been there a lot. They've lost a lot. I, I don't know what to really,
If there's a year to fire your coach, I guess it's this year.
yeah, honestly.
But
uh,
I'm unsure. I mean, I think LaFleur has been the reason that the Packers have had any success so far to some degree. And then, you look at a game like this and you go, well, kind of got to keep your foot on the gas, like you mentioned, continue to take, some chunk plays and throw the ball down the field. And they didn't quite do that. Um, I don't know. It's difficult to say. Jordan Love played well in that game, as you mentioned. So
Yeah.
it's it's hard to figure out where to place the blame entirely. Um, I kind of chalk it up to the Bears played really well in the second half, but I don't know. As a Packers fan, you kind of want some retribution for
Yeah.
what happened after the game.
And I mean, it's all going to come down to next year. Are they going to be a first round exit again? And for the Bears, it's going to come down to, can they keep this magic up against a very experienced coach, a very experienced team? I mean, now you're playing Matthew Stafford across the way. You give Matthew Stafford 30 seconds, he's scoring. I mean, you give Jordan Love 30 seconds, you may not have the same outcome, right? But they're going to have to keep the magic up. That's kind of what I got to say about that.
Yeah, and the other thing is you give Matthew Stafford a 14-point lead. I think it stays at 14.
Yeah,
They're a team that will just they'll hang, 50 points on you if your defense isn't showing up that day.
right.
It's going to be hard to just totally flip and bear down against the Rams. A lot harder than it was against the Packers. So,
Yeah.
um, that's another thing that you have to say is Stafford will not stop scoring.
Yeah. And then uh gonna move into the no good here. Of course,
Mhm.
all of the losses are no good, but I mean, what are you gonna really say? Eagles, I think fit that no good category.
Yeah.
It wasn't a terrible game overall, but it's not the Eagles. It didn't seem like the Eagles. Jalen Hurts was 20 of 35, 168 yards. Only had one touchdown. Saquon, 106 yards on 26 carries. That's great for him. Devontae Smith was their leading receiver, 8 receptions, 70 yards. I, I think A.J. Brown really struggled in this game, and I thought Jalen Hurts kind of struggled in this game. Um, what's your take on that? Is it Jalen Hurts? Is it the offensive play calling? Is it a mix of both? Is there a quarterback problem in Philadelphia? I don't think so, but I'm just kind of
Yeah. Yeah, I can build on that a little bit. I think me and you can both agree that it's not a quarterback problem. I think any team would be very lucky to have Jalen
yeah,
Hurts, but I think it absolutely is a play calling problem. I mean, any Philly Eagles fans you have in your life will tell you, what are we doing on
yeah,
this third down, whatever. It's, you know, there's some problems within the play calling, you even see Jalen Hurts' reaction. You call a timeout, you head to the sideline, and he's kind of like, "That's the play,
yeah, yeah.
okay, whatever." You
I
know,
I absolutely think it is an offensive coordinator problem, and I think the problem with the Eagles is it's such a big market. They just won the Super Bowl, right?
Mhm.
Jalen Hurts, first of all, was the Super Bowl MVP. Let's make that very clear.
Yeah,
I don't think that there is a quarterback problem at all. I think anybody who says that is out of their minds. I,
yeah,
any you said it. Any team would be very lucky to have Jalen Hurts. And he's just such a consistent. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He just knows where he has to put the ball in big moments. But when the offense is running a max of 10 plays, I mean, you're running, I don't know, all goes, you're running slants, you're running a crosser, and you're running a mesh. And then you're Saquon Barkley inside zone. That's the front of the play sheet. There is no back, there is no side. That is it, right?
yeah,
So
and
if you're a defense, that's so easy to protect against. I don't know.
yeah,
I don't
I
understand.
mean, this you also need to see that this 49ers defensive unit is really hurt, and they've managed to play extremely well. But I mean, what semblance of a defense does the 49ers have at this point? It's like, a JV high school
Yeah.
defense.
Yeah.
But like it's genuinely you would imagine the defending Super Bowl champions would do better than 19 points.
Yeah. I mean,
And all they had to do was put up 24 points and they win that game. Even coming down to that final drive, they had some momentum and then, the steam just runs out and
yeah.
it's fourth and 10 or more. And it's hard to win when you can't call many different plays, right?
I mean, I think it was 4th and 11, 4th and 12, and they just ran a crosser. I mean, it was a in route, Texas route for Dallas Goddard. I mean, that's the play. That is what you're scheming up on 3rd and 12 with the game, like the 4th and 12 with the season on the line. Excuse me. I don't understand. And you mentioned the 49ers. They have a JV defense, pretty much the fourth string, the third string guy is like, but honestly, it feels like the Eagles are running a high school offense. They're running a varsity offense with their 8 plays, making it really simple for their varsity quarterback, but it's just not going to work. But I do want to give some credit to Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator. I mean, he's just a genius. I think he fits perfectly there in San Francisco. And I'm not a big fan of Kyle Shanahan. I mean, just personal biases, but man, what a coach. How they got to this point is beyond me. They won 5 games with Mac Jones. I mean, I don't even know how they're still alive. Now they
Yeah.
got to go play Seattle. Is it really doable? No George Kittle anymore. You think they you think they
Yeah.
got it in the bag? One more just magic trick?
Well, when George Kittle left that game with what was apparent, it was pretty apparent that was an Achilles injury, as you could see on the replay. That didn't look good at all.
No.
Um, I'm thinking to myself, okay, now they're down George Kittle, and I picked the Niners in this game. I don't feel very good about this
Yeah.
anymore. He's kind of their big guy on third down and important spots. Um, let's just shift over to Demarcus Robinson to make some big plays.
Yeah.
It's
That's
it's
crazy.
truly next man up in San Francisco. I would say, no chance against a great Seattle defense, but who the hell knows?
Yeah.
Maybe
I mean,
enough
they
to
put
get.
up 3 last time, but anything could happen. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. The
Yeah,
offense does really run through George Kittle, so I think that's a big problem. And Demarcus Robinson had that great catch right at the beginning, whatever it was, like 60 to 70 yards. And
yeah.
honestly, Quinion Mitchell, first team All Pro, has been great all year. He gets burnt on that route, and you see it. He just looks. He goes like, what are you gonna do? Like, damn. But that's really all I got from Eagles 49ers. Tough one, but that was another 6-3 upset. So 2 6-3 upsets in the wild card. But
Yeah.
let's move into the not even close. And I think you know where this is going. There's 2 more games left. They're both in here. Man, Justin Herbert, I love you, dude, but you did it again. You choked in the playoffs, and it wasn't all your fault. But it's kind of a coincidence that you've been to the playoffs 3 times and you lost all 3 times. You're going into your 7th season. You're 19 of 31 in this game, 159 yards. Obviously, the O line did not help. There was no running game. He was the leading rusher, 10 carries, 57 yards. What do you do? What do you do if you're the Chargers? I mean, you buffed the O line, then they got hurt. You just fired your offensive coordinator. You fired your O lineman or O line coach. What do you do?
Ah, man, you're almost thinking like like a couple more seasons of this and we got to hit the self-destruct button, but
Yeah,
they still have a great team. I think it's a team that you can still keep trying to run it back, but you need to avoid injuries. The O-line injuries do not help at all. I mean, as with any team, O-line gets hurt. It's hard for the next man up mentality when you got a guy who usually plays left guard playing right tackle, or something like that. It's hard for O linemen to just shift positions like
yeah,
that, especially against defenses that are going to be good. You're in the playoffs at this point. The Patriots have had a pretty good defensive unit all season. Granted, not against the greatest strength of schedule, but still a good unit. Um, I think you got to continue to have faith in Justin Herbert, but he's been hampered by injuries and constant pressure the entire season. I think it's honestly shocking to me that he played as well as he did, but they missed out on some big opportunities. They
yeah,
started a drive at first and goal and they scored nothing.
yeah.
Yeah, so those are some things that you just need to score there, and they didn't.
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered it all. I, I mean, it was a good Patriots defense, and honestly, it was a great Chargers defense as well. I don't think
Yeah.
Drake May played all that well. 17 of 29, 268 yards, a touchdown, interception. I mean, that's not really a unbelievable stat line. He still hasn't hit whatever it is, 300, 400 yards that he hasn't gone over all season.
Hmm.
Uh, with the Chargers, it just feels like another Philip Rivers. It just feels like Philip Rivers again. And I mean, that sucks to say, but I don't know how it keeps happening. I mean, every generation needs one, I guess. And it sucks that it's Justin Herbert. And I hope that he makes some sort of run at some point in his career. But man, it's getting dicey. But my question for you, and this is about the Patriots, is Drake May good enough to keep winning? He played good
Well,
enough this week, but is good enough to keep winning?
I w- it's weird. I mean, he didn't play particularly well. They didn't score a touchdown until, I mean, like 9 minutes left in that game. Um, and that was after their defense put them in some pretty good positions
Yeah.
to go down the field. Um, I'm not overly impressed still with this Patriots team. I think they're really gonna have to bring it a lot more against what's been a extremely impressive Texans team. I mean, to flip the question to you, what do you think their chances are against a Texans team that is red hot right now?
I mean, it depends on if CJ Stroud wants to play well as well. But you
I,
got two kind of quarterbacks that are getting carried by their defense a bit here. And Stroud does have the experience over Drake May. I picked the Texans to win. At the end of the day, I did because I think their defense is just too much for them to handle. But of the four AFC teams left, I, do the Bills have the best offense somehow? Somehow the Bills have the best off. I mean, the Broncos are very inconsistent. It's three teams that are built the exact same. The Broncos have an inconsistent offense and a great defense. The Texans have an inconsistent offense and a great defense. And the Patriots have a just a bit better offense and a just bit worse defense. And
yeah, like
somehow they're all here. I mean, clearly defense wins championships unless you're the Buffalo Bills. But that's as far as I'll go at that. I don't know if Drake May can do it next week. I just don't think he will. But
yeah, I agree.
yeah, and I mean, we talked about the Texans a bit. Just inconsistent offense. CJ Stroud did not really play that well, but they won the game. The defense really carried them, and we watched Aaron Rodgers get decimated. It was elder abuse out there. They
Yeah,
they lost that game 30-6, and probably in Aaron Rodgers' last game, he will most likely retire. He was 17 of 33, 146 yards, and an interception. He did throw a touchdown pass on his very last throw, although it was to the defense. Um,
defense.
and this just happened. It's about 2:30 on what's today, Tuesday. Mike Tomlin
January
has
13th.
just stepped down as the Steelers head coach. What does is are we going to see a Steelers rebuild? I would have to think so.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have their coach anymore. He's been their guy
Yeah,
for years. Um,
they don't have a coach
and
or a quarterback now.
you know, I'm very surprised to see that he steps down, right? You know,
Mhm.
it's hard. I imagine it was going to be hard for them to fire a guy like Tomlin who'd been their guy for so long. But I was shocked. Like we were just about to hit record here, and you go, "Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, Tomlin just stepped down." That is
It,
crazy. Imagine they do go towards a rebuild at this point. You don't have a quarterback, and you don't have your coach.
mhm.
So
And you're kind of in a terrible position because Mike Tomlin had never had a losing season, so you never have a good draft pick.
yeah,
So
no, yeah, seriously,
now you got to make something up. But what are you going to do? And I mean, for Tomlin, I think he goes down as one of the greatest Steelers head coaches in history. But Aaron Rodgers, what is his legacy as an NFL player? Is he in the GOAT debate? I mean, is he in it? He's probably top five.
um, oh man,
In my
putting me on
opinion,
the spot here.
he's kind of like a top two arm talent of all time.
Certainly, I mean, in his prime, he has one of the most unreal highlight reels
Yeah.
of all time, and there's no question about that. But in terms of where he goes in the GOAT debate, quarterback wise, I'm not sure if I can weigh in on that without thinking about it
Yeah.
first. I don't want to leave anyone out. I mean, it's difficult to just think about it right now.
Yeah. He's kind of in that Drew Brees category where I was like, yeah, he was unbelievably good, but he's not the GOAT. He's not nearly the GOAT. I mean, you could make the case, but it's just not going to happen. But that's really all we have for our field goals of the week. James, you did pick the Jaguars last week against your will, really. You were kind of just going for it. Well, if the Jags win, at least I said that was going to happen. And then if they lost, well, I'm a Bills fan. It kind of just works out. So I'm going to ask you, your NFC side is completely perfect because we had the
So
same
good.
NFC side. So right now I'm 100% of my picks. I got all the wild card picks right, but of course the Jags was the only one that you got wrong, and it kind of just messes up the bracket a bit. So Bills Broncos, who do you want in that one?
I think the Bills can get it done. They proved a lot to me against a very superior
Mhm.
Jacksonville defense. They still managed to score. And then even the Bills defense made a couple big plays in that game. So I'm very
Yeah.
impressed with the Bills right now. Um, I've got the Bills in that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Broncos, I'm sure will make it a close game. They've made every game a close game this year, but I got the Bills there.
And honestly, I didn't mention this earlier, but watching Josh Allen was so methodical. You could tell he was locked in. Like you could
I
tell
mean,
he was just locked. Anytime he made an incomplete pass, he was like upset. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that was locked in Josh Allen. That was a top, honestly, in my opinion, top 10 performance from him all time. I mean, he really played pretty mistake free.
yeah, mistake free, and I mean, like I said, that defense is really good. I'm impressed.
Yeah. And then of course, Texans Patriots. We talked about that a little bit. Do you think Drake May can keep it up next week?
I'm not sure that Texans defense took over that fourth quarter. Um, it's they kept the Texans in the game, and as long as the Texans are in it, that defense is going to make some big plays, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure if Drake May is quite ready for that.
I feel like it's going to be like a 6-3 ball game. I said Texans as well. I mean, I'm assuming you picked Texans here, but um, yeah.
Mhm.
So hopefully those brackets stay perfect. Obviously, we're rooting for the Bills, but you know, Rams would be kind of cool since we both said that. But that will really do it for this episode of Field Goals and Forecasts. Thank you all so much for watching. Go enjoy the divisional round. We had a great wild card. Hopefully, it stays that way in the divisional round. But go watch some football. We will see you all next week. Bye bye.